This is 1.7, exponents and order of operations. So when we're talking about exponents, we're talking about something that says like 9 to the 4th power, where we would say that this has a power. Or we could say 9, okay, is a factor. It's repeated. And we would say this, it's repeated. It's a 9 is a factor 4 times. We don't always say it's repeated, but you should understand that it's 9 is being multiplied 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So again, 9 we call a base, and 4 would be our exponent. The exponent tells you how many times to repeat it. I'm going to ask you to name the base and the exponent. It's very, you're just going to write it out. What is the base and what is the exponent for each one? So in this one, we would say the base is 3 and the exponent is 2. In the next one, the base of 3 to the 3rd power is 3. And the exponent is also 3. 2 to the 4th power, the base is 2, the exponent is 4. Next thing I'm going to ask you to do is expand and multiply. If I was to expand 3 to the 2nd power, I would write it as 3 times 3. That's the expanded piece. And then I would answer and multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. So both of these are solutions. And the next one, 4 squared, or 4 to the 2nd power. 4 times 4. And that would mean 4 times 4 is 16. 3 to the 3rd power would be 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And then finally we have 2 to the 4th power. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And so that is our answer. You can also think about these problems as grouped items where you still have that multiplication symbol in between. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. Let's look at the exponent rule of 1. Any number raised to the 1st power is itself. For example, if I have 4 to the 1st power, the answer is just 4. Or I could even do letters. A to the 1st power is just going to be the letter A. The one that's tricky, the one that's going to get you, the one I'm going to highlight, is the exponent rule of 0. You have to remember that if this is itself, then what is something that is raised to 0? So what is 4 to the 0 power? Any number other than 0 is raised to the 0 power. The solution is 1. That's the trick. So 4 to the 0 power is 1. A to the 0 power is 1. 1,432,365 to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Let's simplify a couple of practice. I've given you a couple here. Pause the video, or I will pause it for you, and try a couple on your own. You should have said 5 to the 1, or 5 to the 1st power is 5. 9 to the first power is 9. 4 to the 0 power, that was a gimme, is 1. 8 to the 0 power is 1. The next section in 1.7 talks about order of operations. The order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. This little box is really what I want you to focus on, but I'm going to give you some extra pieces to help you remember things. So when we talk about parentheses, we're talking about brackets first, within the bracket, and then we're talking about your parentheses. So we have brackets and parentheses. Okay. Then we're talking about exponents. Solving a problem that has something with a power to it. This is the part where it gets tricky. This part right here. Which one do you do first, multiplication or division? Which one do you do first, adding or subtracting? It's very particular. It's not always multiplication first. It is division, and I'm writing it in particular this way, division or multiplication. And it goes from left to right. It's the same thing with addition and subtraction. You could do subtraction before you do addition. I'm not making this up. I'm not the crazy teacher that just am telling you something super crazy you've never heard of. It's how we were taught things when we were kids. We were taught PEMDAS. And that was a fantastic system, but it made it so that a lot of people didn't realize that it was division or multiplication from left to right, whichever one comes first. Same thing as subtraction or addition, it's whichever comes first. So this part right here, it's whichever comes first. Let's be very particular. You divide if it comes before multiplication, you subtract if it comes before addition. You're always going to work from the left to the right. Let's try a couple. I'm going to use abbreviations like PEMDAS so that you know what step I did first. So we have 4 times 8 minus 2 times 6. So I'm going to multiply first. And 4 times 8 is 32, and then I'm going to rewrite the rest. Minus 2 times 6. Then I'm going to multiply again. Because I didn't have parentheses, I didn't have exponents, and multiplication was the first thing that came up, and this one was the first one that came up on the left. So we have 32 minus, what is 2 times 6? 12. Then I'm going to subtract, and 32 take away 12 is 20. Let's look at the next one. The next one has 5 plus 2, parentheses, 7 minus 1. I'm going to write that up here. 5 plus 2, parentheses, 7 take away 1. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is the parentheses. So we have 5 plus 2, parentheses, 7 take away 1 is 6. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this step here, which is multiply. 2 times 6. Even though there's not a symbol there, the parenthesis means multiply. So I have 5 plus 2 times 6 is 12. And finally, I'm going to add. 5 plus 12 is 17. Let's look at the next one. We have 9 times 2 to the third power plus 36 divided by 3 to the second power minus 8. I'm going to box some of these off a little bit so we have some space. And I'm going to fill that in right here. So we have 9 times 2 to the third power plus 36 divided by 3 to the second power minus 8. So we're going to do those exponents first. We're going to solve all of those exponents, and you could do them even in the same step. So I'm going to do this part and this part. So 9 times 2 to the third power, remember, that means 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 36 divided by 3 times 3, or 3 to the second power, is 9 minus 8. So I did these first. Now we're going to multiply because it comes before the division when we're going from left to right. When we multiply, 9 times 8, we get 72. Next, we're going to divide. So we have 72 plus 36 divided by 9 is 4 minus 8. Now we're going to add because it comes first on the left. 72 plus 4 is 76 minus 8. Now we're going to subtract, and we find that the answer is 68. On the last problem, example 7, here on this page, we have 3 plus 2 bracket, 10 minus 3 parenthesis, 5 minus 2 close parenthesis, close bracket. This is quite a big setup. I could probably squeeze it in right here underneath. So I'm going to actually go right from where the paper starts. And I'm going to focus in on the parenthesis first. So I'm going to do this parenthesis first. And I'm only going to do that. So I'm going to leave everything else there. I'm going to rewrite 3 plus 2 bracket 10 minus 3 parenthesis 5 take away 2 is 3, close the parenthesis, close the bracket. So I did parentheses first, but I'm going to have to do it again because within the parentheses, within those brackets, there's actually multiplication. So I'm going to multiply within those brackets now. I'm going to do that 3 times 3. So we have 3 plus 2 bracket 10 take away 3 times 3 is 9. Now within those brackets, I need to subtract. So I'm going to do 3 plus 2 bracket 10 take away 9 is 1. Now I only have this, and it's really like a parenthesis. So we're going to treat it exactly the same. We're going to multiply because this is 2 times 1. So 3 plus 2 times 1 is 2. And then finally, we're going to add to get 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's look at this last part here. We have examples 8 and 9. On example 8, we have, I'm not going to give you this homework, so let's focus on example 8. We have 3 plus 2 times 3 to the 4th power. So we're going to do our exponent first. So we have 3 plus 2 times 3 to the 4th power. And we're going to focus on the exponent. So we're going to rewrite 3 plus 2 times, what is 3 to the 4th? So we think to ourselves, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or 9 times 9, which is 81. Now, we're going to, after we did our exponents, we can multiply. And I'm not sure about you, but I'm not really confident in doing 81 times 2 in my head, so I double check it with some scrap side paper. 2 times 1 is 2, 8 times 2 is 16, and I get 162. So 3 plus 162. And finally we add them together, and I get my answer, 165. Let's look at the next one. Try to get you not distracted. So we have 3 to the third power plus 8 to the second power divided by 2. We're going to do 3, the exponents first. So we have 3 to the third power plus 8 to the second power divided by 2. We got to figure out our exponents, so let's do that first. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. 8 times 8 is 64. Now we're going to do our division. So we leave the 27, and 64 divided by 2 is 32. If you weren't sure, you would put your 64 here, your 2 on the outside. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Bring down your 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and you get 0, so 32. And then we add them together. And when we do, we get our final answer, 59. Let's actually do one last example. This is one that you're going to have to fill in on your own. So we'll call this example 10. Let's do 4 divided by 2 times 6 minus 2 plus 4. In this one, I gave it to you very particular because division's going to come first in this case. We're going to divide very first because it's the first thing that comes up. There's no parentheses, no exponents, and we multiply and divide from left to right. So this is the first thing I see. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then we have everything left over. Times 6 minus 2 plus 4. Next, I think, is multiply because I have adding and subtracting after that. So we're going to multiply. 2 times 6 is 12. Take away 2 plus 4. You should then see that, we have to add or subtract. And we're going to subtract because it comes first on the left. 12 take away 2 is 10 plus 4. And then finally, we're going to add to get 14. This is an awesome example. This is the example that you really want to follow your left to right. Just like we started at the beginning, talking about you have to do multiplication and division. They go hand in hand from left to right, and addition and subtraction from left to right, whichever one comes first. And that is 1.7 exponents in order of operation.